Hey H&K fans, James here with another Target of Opportunity video for you. We're out here at Frontline Defense conducting our MP5 Advanced Operator Course this weekend, and just finished the day 2 portion. And I've got my buddy Robert out here, and it's always a great opportunity to get to train with him, and he always brings fun toys with him as well. And this is obviously one that I think a lot of the H&K fans are always curious about. Rarely get to see this thing in action, so we're going to have Robert take you through the MP5K Operational Briefcase.
Thank you, James. The operational briefcase, a lot of people ask, does it have a safety on it? Well, it does in a way. It actually has a safety mechanism right here that must be depressed before you can actually pull the trigger. Now, as you can see in the video, once you depress the safety and pull the trigger, this transfer lever right here is actually activating the trigger on the gun itself at this point. So I hope you can see that pretty well. A couple things to note about this. You have to set your selector lever at the position that you want prior to shooting or prior to closing up the briefcase, because you're not going to get an opportunity really to easily get to that once you have the briefcase closed. Also, you'll notice here that it has an extension tube here. Once you get the gun into the claw mechanism in the briefcase, you've got to make sure that the barrel is up flush against, or almost flush up against, this extension tube. Now, something to note, because I know some people might be curious, you cannot put a MP5K PDW into this particular briefcase without modification, because that tube will prevent the barrel from going in. Now, they have these plugs that were actually provided in the briefcase as well that go over the barrel port right here. And that was designed to make it more clandestine when you're carrying it, Wall Street or whatever. And that's something too that's kind of unique about this briefcase, is who carries a briefcase anymore. But when this was introduced in the 70s or 80s, everyone was, well, everyone, but VIP protection crews and stuff, it wasn't uncommon to see them with a briefcase. And so this is kind of a relic of its time, but it's a really neat piece of history. And a couple things to also note is right here, this was an area for an official cleaning kit. And then right here, you can store a spare magazine in the briefcase as well. Now, what we're going to do is put a loaded magazine into it, set our selector lever up, and then we're going to take it out in range and fire it. Okay, folks, we're going to load a magazine into this right now. We've got the gun inserted into the claw mount inside the briefcase. So we're going to insert a magazine here. Make sure it's firmly seated. Can't do the HK slap, of course, so we're just going to pull that down. Now we're going to set it on full auto. At this point, the briefcase is ready to rock once I close this door, although you could shoot it this way as well. So I'm going to close the briefcase up. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, if you're going to shoot this, you're probably thinking it's very normal to carry it like this, and you probably want to shoot it like this. But you don't want to do that, because you could accidentally, especially if you're really rocking that full auto, there's a potential that you could actually shoot your cav off. And you don't want to do that. So the way to actually employ this is on its side like this, and then you have to kind of guess a little bit, and it takes a little bit of practice to figure out where exactly are you going to hit. And that's one of the problems that we have with this particular briefcase. So this target's pretty close, and this is probably the maximum distance that I would feel comfortable shooting this at effectively. So let's give it a try. I'm going to go for this further out target now, just to show you that it's very likely that I won't hit it. There you go. So I was aiming pretty high on that. And also on the initial burst I had, I was pretty high as well on the target. And that's just because naturally when you're holding this, you think to yourself that, oh, I'm holding it level, I'm going to be on the target. But a lot of times you're going to be off, probably too high in a lot of cases. This particular briefcase is best employed, again, at distances probably no further than this, which I would estimate to be about 6-7 feet. If you go any further than that, it doesn't make any sense, especially as like a VIP protection sort of mechanism or platform. It really is not ideal beyond a distance any further than that, because you run a high risk, of course, of hitting stuff besides your intended target. Now, one of the neat things about this particular briefcase that allows you to be really clandestine is that when you open it, you'll notice that all the casings that have been fired are contained inside the briefcase. And it gives a really cool smoky effect after you've just fired it when you open it up. The only thing I'd recommend about this briefcase, if I was willing to modify something that's a piece of history, which I won't, but if I was improving upon the design, I'd put a laser on it, because if this had a laser on it, it'd probably be a very, very effective platform. Aside from the fact, again, who carries a briefcase these days?
Awesome. So I'm glad I was able to showcase this with you guys, because I know there are a lot of H&K fans out there that are always interested in something like this. So again, it's humbling for me to be able to share my knowledge and experience. It's humbling for me to get to train with buddies like Robert and to get to have him share this with you as well. So as always, if you're in need of H&K service and support, or you're looking for unique H&K training opportunities like this Advanced MP5 Operator course we're teaching right here, give me a shout. That's what I'm here for. Thanks, guys.